Hunt 'em Big with Steve Bartylla. Brought to you by Huntworth and these other fine sponsors.
Always remember that making mistakes is not a bad thing. As long as we learn from those mistakes, don't repeat them, they become positives over and over and over again. Let's talk about turkey hunting mistakes today, though. Okay. As we understand, to start the season, turkeys are everywhere. Calling is great because guess what? They're in the wide open. The majority of the hens aren't receptive yet. Okay. So the toms have to work so much harder to go ahead and get those few early hens. Okay. And those hens, if the woods hasn't greened up yet, odds are really super high that they're going to be out in the open. The toms are going to be out in the open as well, and they're generally pretty darn receptive to calling. But now we get a little deeper. Now we get to the point where, all of a sudden the woods are starting to green up big time, and insects are popping back in the woods like crazy. What do the hens do? They shift. Remember, when it comes to turkey hunting, it's no different than deer hunting. These turkeys' patterns are going to change over season. There is such a huge advantage to us when we change right along with them. So when the hens start moving into the woods, because it's greening up and the insects are popping and they're starting to lay some egg, you go in with them. At the same time, realize that now, once those hens really start getting bred, calling isn't going to work real well at all. About the only time calling is going to work is when you catch that tom between hens. Why? Because otherwise he's got what he wants. When he already has a hen that he's able to breed, why in the world is he going to leave her to come to your call? Now, whether it's to get in a fight or whether it's you're promising him another hen to breed, he's already got what he wants. He ain't leaving it. So once breeding really starts kicking into gear, lay off the calling big time. Okay. What you're doing more often than not in those scenarios when you call a lot is you're educating birds not to come into your calls. But now you get deeper into season. The overwhelming majority of turkeys, the hens, they've been bred now. What happens? Those toms get desperate. They're split, they start hitting the open a lot more again, not because that's where the concentration is, but because they're so desperate. As a general rule of thumb, to start and end the season, being out in the open is a great place to be. And also, those are the times to hammer those calls. You hammer those calls then because that's when the toms are going to be most receptive. That is assuming your area isn't already called to snot. If it has been called so darn hard that these turkeys are call shy, leave. It's no different than grunting and rattling on heavily pressured whitetails. When you grunt and rattle on heavily pressured whitetails, when you're the 10th person to do it to them in the last 2 weeks, guess what? If they were going to come into that, they were dead a long time ago. Instead, odds are really good you're sending them the other way. Don't be afraid to utilize that to your advantage, both in deer hunting and turkey hunting. Heck, I've killed a couple bucks literally as they were slinking away from other hunters' calling and rattling sequences. But don't be the one they're slinking from. Keep your calling to a minimum, and if you're bow hunting out of ground blinds, set those turkey, when you think those decoys are too close to the blind, half the distance again. Set them about 5 yards out in front of that blind. Make it so the deer can see, the turkeys can see it, but those turkeys are not afraid of blinds unless they've been trained to be. I haven't seen that yet, but I'm sure somewhere out there they are. We can train turkeys just like we can train our dog, and just like we can train whitetails. But by understanding what's going on, by minimizing our mistakes, calling when turkeys aren't receptive to calling, hunting in the open when they're all back in the woods. You know, those little things can make a huge difference.
Final thoughts, brought to you by Huntworth.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes when it comes to deer and turkey hunting. As long as you learn from them, they become successes. But a general rule of thumb on turkeys, feel free to call early. Be out in the open. That's where most of the turkeys are. Follow the turkey, follow the hens. As they go back in the woods, you go back in the woods with them. And as they start getting bred in earnest, your calling goes down real hard until most of them have been bred and those toms get desperate all over again and then jack that calling up again. Remember, our approach to an entire turkey season really shouldn't be much different than our approach to whitetails. They follow the same general patterns.